So there was supposed to be a whole different video that was filmed today, but due to recent events, we're gonna do this one.
I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection on me.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Vaughn Ty, Co-Conscious. We have been trying to do a Meet the Alters second edition for the past 2 days, 3 days, and all of the alters are not wanting to speak. Sometimes we don't even know who's even at the front. This is something that we usually try to do our best with, of course, coming off as the host, but unfortunately sometimes when it comes down to us communicating or us having to film, it's not that simple to always know, okay, who's going to be at the front for a specific time. In this case, Ty and I have decided to do this video because instead of just wallowing in anger or emotion, we felt like, the world needs to maybe hear a little something related to trauma response. In case you haven't realized from the title, I think we figured out that's going to be in the title. So humanity as a whole needs to do better with reacting to a person's trauma response. When a person has been traumatized and has gone through different things and has been triggered and they react, it is not always that they are attacking you or that they are charging at you or coming at you specifically or personally. Sometimes it is literally just an emotional response that immediately happens that has absolutely nothing to do with you. And instead of you going into a selfish or retreating mode of feeling like it's about you at that moment, sometimes it would be nice or helpful if you take the time to recognize that that response is coming from a place of pain and maybe either address it or acknowledge it. When you completely ignore, dismiss, or walk away from someone who is reacting, that literally lets them know or makes them feel like what they're feeling does not matter. Now, this is a two-way street, and we definitely recognize that, how you definitely have to be sympathetic to a person who may walk away or dismiss it because maybe they have been triggered or maybe it's too much for them at that moment. And in that moment, they just cannot deal because they're trying to prevent themselves from maybe getting aggressive, or maybe they're trying to prevent something escalating into a worse scenario, which definitely makes sense. So I would say both parties involved need to be mindful of how each other may be feeling, but also try to put their feelings aside for the moment to be conscious of how the other person is reacting or feeling. But I would say there has to be some sort of emotional intelligence involved as well, whereas the person who's in a heightened reaction clearly probably is feeling a little bit more emotional at the moment. At the same time, you never know if the other person who's not reacting that way could also be feeling that way. So there is still a catch-22 with that. It is not easy for anyone to share trauma that they've been in or something that they have gone through, even if it's not that traumatic. It's not that easy. And especially when you're in a system. So if a system or even someone who's not in a system decides to share something with you, you should really take that into account, giving as much care and respect as you can to that situation or to that trauma that they are sharing. And I know that this is not that easy. I know a lot of people like to make light of situations with jokes and like to, smooth over things so that way it doesn't get heavier. But sometimes it does call for a little bit of nurture or accountability towards what is being said. It may not always have to be extremely serious, but you definitely want to try to acknowledge. It was brought to our attention that April 24th is a day that people are designating to specifically go out and target people to rape them. That is absolutely ridiculously fucked up and horrible. You are a disgusting person, one of the worst people that humanity could ever have a part of, waste of time, energy, and space if you are going out of your way to designate a day to go do this to someone. First of all, who the fuck came up with something like that? Who is jumping on the bandwagon of that? Who's agreeing to stupid shit like that? And who is allowing this? If you know anyone who's about to do this, stop them. If you are about to do it, stop yourself. That is horrible to do to someone. You are literally picking at a sour wound of people who have probably gone through it or never have gone through it and shouldn't have to. The camera's all messed up today. We are all out of whack today, going in and out. I had to take multiple pauses because I don't even know who was coming in and out as far as switching is concerned. This is just a very emotional day. I'm probably not even going to edit this because it needs to be seen. Anyway, or at least not this part. Unfortunately, when it was brought to our attention, the way that it was brought to our attention was kind of it didn't feel like it was being taken as serious, even though they probably were. So we immediately reacted because it felt like that person and everyone else in the room kind of just treated it as it was something light. And rape is never light. Rape is heavy. Rape is never light. Rape is heavy, especially when you are like this body who has gone through it more times than we can count. It is something that definitely sparks a trigger. And so in that regard, if someone is telling you that they have gone through something, try to be mindful of where you just brought them back to in their mind. Try to be mindful of, even if their delivery may jolt you or trigger you with their tone, which I'm sure is not fun. Definitely though, still try to be mindful of where they're at and what flashback they may be having and what floods of memory are coming back. I feel like I'm gonna just keep repeating myself. I can feel Juliana and Jules' anger. Feels like all of us are kind of like mushed, to be honest, which is usually how our system has been. It's either blended or we're in and out, switching in and out moments out of the day. So I'm just gonna end it here. We're trying to get that Meet the Alters video, 2nd edition, out, but it's not that easy for everyone to just like be ready to talk. And I want to kind of do it while Juliana wanted to do it where it's those of us that can be shared will be on in one video instead of chopped up in different videos, because there's so much other things that we want to share. But I guess we'll see how it goes. There's so much noise as usual outside of this room, and so that's also, you know, always triggering. Like, I'm sure you can hear outside right now. I'm done. Last thing I want to say is this is why we try to stay off social media until we absolutely know who is out. So that way there's some sort of, I don't know, there's so, I guess, or again, to make other people feel comfortable so there's no confusion. But honestly, fuck that. If this is going to help one other system or multiple systems feel like they're not alone in just being who and what they are, then so be it. So if we need to show more moments like this, then that's what we'll do, because yeah. So okay, done.